Yo, what is up, guys? This is Troy D from the Troy D 24/7 Mall channel, your source for on point and no hype reviews. We are back again, everybody. We're back with another fragrance review right here, guys, on my one day off. Now, before I head back to work, guys, I'm gonna give you guys a review on a fragrance that got me excited when I found out that it released, and it is from one of those houses that I continuously review for their unique fragrances. Keyword is unique. Anyways, hope you are excited with this new Stephane Humbert Lucas fragrance that I will be reviewing. Let's go. Now, before I continue, please do not forget to like and subscribe, guys, okay? Liking, subscribing, watching the ads is a great big deal to this channel as we head towards 27,000 subscribers. So please continue all your support, guys. Deep dive into my over 900 no hype videos and shop with our affiliate links here in these videos if you are interested in these fragrances, guys. It helps the channel a lot. Thank you so much for all your support. And the fragrance that we'll be talking about today is none other than the latest Stephane Humbert Lucas fragrance for 2025. This is none other than the Queen and the Viper. Yes, the Queen and the Viper, guys, you know. And this matches perfectly the series of bottles that Stephane Humbert Lucas has been making with the snake on it. You know, started with Mortal Skin, I believe, and then the trend continued on to a lot of really cool fragrances that have come out. Now, this fragrance right here, the concept is about Cleopatra, okay? And Cleopatra's death, basically, she was either gonna be captive, forced to captivity or something like that, and rather than do that, she, you know, drank some poison, basically, or I think bit a snake or something, okay? So she basically chose the death rather than be captive. Okay, makes sense, guys, especially if you are Cleopatra, a queen. But yeah, really crazy concept. And to me, even knowing this concept right here, it's consistent with other Stephane Humbert Lucas releases where it's more like enigmatic and artsy with really a very ambiguous, you know, thing. Like, what is it really going to smell like? And one of the questions that I posed when I found out about this fragrance was, with the word queen being in it, is this going to be a femme-leaning perfume, or was it going to be a unisex fragrance that I can enjoy myself? So that was one of my big questions right there. Anyways, I have been testing this fragrance, guys. I'll break it down for everybody right here. Hope you guys are excited, or if you're a fan of the brand, hope you guys are excited. Let's go spray this thing right now. Okay, guys, now let's talk about this fragrance right here, the latest Stephane Humbert Lucas fragrance for 2025, the Queen and the Viper. Okay, now this opening is lovely. Okay, I mean, if you read the pyramid ahead of time, you're looking at some notes that are probably like not your standard run-of-the-mill notes that come in right about this time of the year, and I'll tell you, it's a great combination right here. Now, there's a reason why the bottle is colored green, in my opinion, and it's this kind of green, kind of like a semi-mint green, and that's because the chief note that really pops out here in the beginning, and that stays, okay, it doesn't just easily go away, is spearmint. Okay, so spearmint is pretty much the chief note here that will be the most noticeable here, and it's a different whiff, you know, especially, you know, if you're used to the same old banana every single time. Having spearmint come up in the beginning really is a nice, wonderful change, guys. Okay, now what's interesting as well is what flanks the spearmint and how the opening actually develops, this unique opening. And I would say that you would have a brief moment of fruitiness with black currant, and you'd also, this fragrance also immediately also starts that gradient, that sunset gradient, with the tea-like smelling Davana. Okay, so if you can imagine that, you're gonna get that fresh green spearmint in the beginning. That's a wonderful new whiff, like I said, with some fruity tart black currant, and then you have the tea-like gradient of the Davana. All right, so sounds pretty fantastic to me. It's very unique, you know, it's definitely different. And you know, year after year, season after season that I make these videos, all I hear about is people saying, oh, you know what, nothing new, same banana, easily cloned. But this intro, I would say, pretty damn unique, and it did remind me of Venom Incarnate, okay, which, you know, it's not really completely related to it, but when I smelled Venom Incarnate, I was like, oh, this is going to be big for those that are looking for something different. And the fact that the spearmint here is initially linked with fruitiness in the beginning and then a tea-like gradient somewhere in the middle is something new, because spearmint traditionally would have been with something that's more like, you know, mood enhancing. But here it's the mood enhancing thing itself. But then the sunset gradient starts to continue even in the opening right here. Now this intro, much like Venom Incarnate in my opinion, gives you that slight tinge of like fruitiness and an awakening in the beginning. But this whole thing, in my opinion, lasts, I would say, like 15 to 20 minutes, because the Davana starts taking over, and you also have these fall winter notes that are usually meant for the dry down start coming in the opening. Okay, at the latter part of the opening, kind of like 30 to 35 minutes in comes some resin, the styrax resin. That's kind of like an amber resin that comes in here in the opening. So you're getting amber, and then at the same time you're getting incense, like the smoky incense also in the opening. All right, so this is classic. Like I said, Stephane Humbert Lucas reminded me of how like artsy Venom Incarnate was, in that it gave me an initial part that was like, ooh, wow, that's like spearmint and black currant, and then eventually, like, you know, classy, elegant, kind of like enigmatic, deep. It goes into that with styrax, with incense, with the Davana setting up that tea-like scent. And this is all, again, in the opening. This is all within like the first like 1 hour to 1 hour 30 of the fragrance. So I'm going to say this. I love this opening. And, you know, again, this is for those people that are looking for something different compared to the same bananas that come out, you know, every single fall winter season. Same combinations. Well, here it is right here. This Queen and the Viper definitely gives you this opening that is both a little bit mood enhancing. It has an overarching spearmint, but also has your gradient, beautiful like tea-like Davana, amber, and incense right here in the get-go to kind of set up that nighttime deep enigmatic push. So I definitely like this intro right here, and the more that I spray it, the more I like it, and the more I appreciate the differentiation that it gave me. Okay, now let's talk about initial sillage and projection of this one. This fragrance, Queen and the Viper, is a lingering draw-in scent. Okay, definitely created a scent trail around me, but not too strong, I would say, which is exactly what I'm looking for. If I'm spraying something unique and artsy, I kind of want to keep it, you know, like right here, like lingering. I don't want it to be like an attention grabber too much, and that's precisely what this is. It's very cozy for the cold weather, simply because it's got the Davana, the styrax, and the incense kind of creating that comforting, cozy cloud around you. So I would say it's a good sillage and projection. If you wear niche perfumes or high-end niche perfumes, you get me when I say that you don't want to be like super strong on the push when you're wearing these perfumes. Just enough to create a nice scent trail and coziness for the wearer is where I'm at with these, usually these like fall winter cozy perfumes. So I would say this one is optimal for me. Okay, now let's head into the mid of the Queen and the Viper. Now, if you like the intro, then definitely you're gonna like the mid, because the mid is basically a continuance of that intro. So this fragrance doesn't really change direction in the mid. It doesn't go a different way, but rather a lot of the notes here in the mid reinforce what you got in the beginning. You've got mint, another mint note, like a double dose of mint note, but I would say it's more of like a not so uplifting mint note. Like you could tell like spearmint is different, even with gum, right? When you have a spearmint gum, it's different than your like typical peppermint. I would say that this mint note here, I mean, it's just your classic mint note. It's not spearmint, but it is a double dose. It continues on here in the mid of this fragrance, guys. You have smoky vetiver also continuing the greenness and the smokiness set up by that incense. And then you have some sweet modifiers right here, such as osmanthus, as well as jasmine. These are background sweet modifiers because there's still some sweetness here. Like I said, that's set up by certain things like black currant, Davana, and the styrax, continued on by these nice florals that are embedded in the background. You already know it's going to be a thicker, cozier cloud. It's already set up by the opening, and it's going to continue a lot more with, you know, vetiver and a nice mint note and some little sweetness. So I would say that the mid of Queen and the Viper is more of the same, kind of like a continuance of the intro, which I like. So ain't got no problems with that. Now, finally, let's talk about the dry down right here. And the dry down is something that I got excited about when I saw the pyramid. I saw notes of tobacco, dates, birch, saffron, and I was just like, wow, these are kind of like the, you know, typical, you know, really nice fall winter notes that I know that I love. I love dates as well, these dried fruits. But I gotta say right here on the dry down of Queen and the Viper, they didn't pop out as much as I'd want to, or maybe it's because a lot of them already share the qualities that were set up in the beginning, right? So the tobacco and the dates kind of form this like smoky, sweet type of ending, which, like I said, is something that you've been, you know, I've been smelling since the beginning of this fragrance. And the amber, the labdanum does give like a slight leathery touch, but it's still going to be amber, something that I also smelled in the beginning of the fragrance as well. Saffron was one of those like wild card notes that I was wondering, like, is that gonna really pop out as expected? But no, saffron actually just gave me like a sweet, spicy, leathery type of thing. It didn't pop out so much right here. So all in all, I'm gonna say this, that, you know, it felt like another continuance of amber, like a combination of amber and leather, and maybe some dried fruits towards the dry down, but it wasn't as crazy as my imagination was really going for. That I thought it was gonna be like, oh, a heavy tobacco with dates, you know? And I get it though. I mean, there were so many notes here in this fragrance that, in my opinion, a lot of the concentration went into the first and second parts of the fragrance to already give you that kind of impact. But if you're thinking that the dry down is going to be some crazier thing, I guarantee you it's not. It's typically a nice, like, sweet, kind of like smoky, ambery ending with some slight leather. Definitely a sunset ending to this fragrance already. But like I said, because you have the gradient starting on in the beginning, it's already on that. I mean, this whole fragrance is already like smoky, deep, and dark and enigmatic from the opening salvo, guys. Okay, minus the spearmint and black currant that wakes you up in the beginning. Everything is really set up for this like deep, dark, enigmatic push. Kind of like maybe the end of Cleopatra, right? I don't know, but definitely I will say this, you'll get a hint of tobacco right here. You'll get a hint of dates. You'll get a nice dose of labdanum, amber leather in this ending. But again, don't expect too much like note separation right here in the end. That I will say. But it's still a nice ending to this fragrance. Okay, so what do I think of this fragrance right here? The Queen and the Viper. Absolutely like it. I mean, definitely this is for niche lovers. This is for art lovers. This is for those that like uncategorized fragrances. But of course, this one right here, if I could categorize it, this one is going to be a fall winter, deep, mysterious type of fragrance that, you know, again, any niche lover could probably get into. Anybody that appreciates note combinations, unique note combinations, would get into, especially in a world or a designer or a fragrance community where a lot of the fragrances are repeated every single time. Same combination, same banana every like fall winter. This one will definitely give you something different. And if you haven't tried Venom Incarnate, I would say try that too. If you're gonna get like some sort of sample set from Stephane Humbert Lucas, get Venom Incarnate also, or watch my video on that. The outcome, I would say, is kind of like the same when I say that this is for those that love that. These two fragrances, I would say Queen and the Viper as well as Venom Incarnate, are two fragrances that you can definitely find in this house as gems, you know, on top of your typical God of Fire that probably everybody's going to be ordering, also your mainstream friends. But definitely this is something unique and very nice indeed, guys, and perfect for this kind of weather, this type of like thing. And of course, if you are yourself kind of like a classy, elegant, enigmatic figure, right, a kind of mysterious figure, I think that Queen and the Viper is going to match your personality very well, because it's kind of like a gate-kept combination, if you will, right? Because it's not that common, but it smells so good. And so it's kind of like a gate-kept combination. So if you're that type that likes to gatekeep things and you want to keep the gems that you find to yourself, definitely this, I think, will fit your type of personality and, you know, type of collector that you are. Here's a big question right here. Is this fragrance unisex? In my opinion, it is unisex, all right? Definitely the spearmint in the beginning makes it not so femme. You know, I would say that the continuance of the mint, the smokiness here really outweighs just the combination of amber, you know, all the sweet stuff. Even the jasmine and osmanthus are all kind of like background characters to this. But the mint, the smokiness, I would say the Davana, the tea-like Davana stands out here. And those are, you know, notes that guys also love. So I would say that even though this fragrance has queen on it, it does not mean that it is a strictly femme fragrance. Can it be a femme fragrance? Of course, because again, like Venom Incarnate, this is something that, you know, I think maybe they thought about, you know, women wearing this right here. But the combination is extremely unisex to wear, guys, okay? And again, fall, winter, cold weather, this is where it's at. So yeah, definitely a usable perfume. Okay, now total performance on this fragrance, guys, is 11 to 12 hours. The longevity, I had no problems with it. I don't think I have any problems with Stephane Humbert Lucas fragrances. Performance is very, very good and optimal right here. And also the continuance. Maybe if there's something, like I said, that you know, could have been done better here, would be a more like juiced up like ending. Maybe more concentration on those notes in the ending would have been like a knockout punch. But that's okay, that might be asking much, especially for the price of this one, which is not so expensive in my opinion. Maybe it would have bumped up the price if they like added a lot more like tobacco dates and like labdanum. I don't know. For me, guys, the performance is beautiful. 12 hours, 11 to 12 hours on this one. You wouldn't have a problem if you had this on the long run. Okay, and now let's talk about the cost of this fragrance right here, and is it a full bottle worthy fragrance? First off, the price is not abysmal. Okay, it's $250 for a 50 ml. Not a lot of juice, but hey, you know what? That's kind of like Stephane Humbert Lucas. All his bottles are like that, okay? It's the same size, same amount, and I think because this is more reserved, it's not really a grabber, I would say. I would say it's more of like a signature scent for the enigmatic types, or an upscale grabber, or even special occasions, or like special nighttime outings type of thing. With that being said, I don't think you need 100 ml of this, okay? I have Mortal Skin, which I consider one of those like artsy, like nighttime type of like Stephane Humbert Lucas fragrances. I still have a lot of juice in my Mortal Skin, okay? And I still use that, guys, okay? So I think that the sizing is okay and the price isn't really abysmal or crazy. Unlike, I don't know, the recent PDMs now. That was like $500, $600 for like a bottle, right? But then, you know, it doesn't really portray a lot of really nice combinations that you've never seen before. So I would say that this is a full bottle worthy fragrance. Now, of course, you want to test this, you want to try this. There's a lot of decants and samples out there of Queen and the Viper. If you want to try this fragrance, I implore you guys and gals to do so. Again, it's very, very unisex, very unique, very new. Reminded me of Venom Incarnate in that uniqueness. So I would say full bottle worthy, no problems with the price. And that is it. That is my no hype review on the latest Stephane Humbert Lucas fragrance, the Queen and the Viper. Let me know in the comments below what y'all think of this fragrance right here, if y'all have tried it. And I know that this is a fragrance that a lot of y'all like demanded me to do, like, you know, it's on demand. So I'm pushing it, or I pushed it to the top for you guys to see this review right here. So thank you so much, guys, for all your comments. And I know the other really repetitive demand is Il Padrino by Sospiro, so I will get to that as well. Hopefully I can get you guys that within this month, or, you know, before the end of the year. But unfortunately, I'm traveling out to London and Paris next week, and I will be vlogging. Like I said, hopefully they'll allow me to vlog in all these like 7th floor boutiques or what have you. I'll do something like that for you guys while I'm out there, okay? So thank you so much for watching, guys. Again, let me know what you think of this fragrance. Please do not forget to like and subscribe. God bless, take care, peace.